This is Barbara Ellistad with Mesquite Citizen Journal, and we are here today with Karen Fielding, who is running in the general election 2020 for Mesquite City Council Seat 5. So, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning to you. Thank you.
Good to have you here.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah. So, tell us just a little bit about yourself before we jump into discussing the issues.
Perfect. So, as Karen Fielding, I've been here for 25 plus years now. I've always said this, and I'll always say it again. I've lived in this community, I've worked in this community, and I've raised my kids here. And that's why I continue to stay here, because I love Mesquite and the community and the surrounding areas. I have always been involved in the city of Mesquite, and I'm very passionate. And I think that's why, no, let me take that back. I know that's why I've decided to run for city council a second time.
Okay.
Because I want to be part of the future of Mesquite. And I know that with the history that I have in Mesquite, the knowledge that I have with the city of Mesquite, I feel that I would be an outstanding candidate, or actually council member.
Yeah.
So.
And you're an active real estate agent.
True. So June was 5 years with ERA Brokers Consolidated. Before that, I had a combined 14 years with Title and Escrow. Starting out as an assistant, I was an escrow officer. I did marketing. Prior to that, I worked for some builders and some developers around all over Mesquite. So I'm familiar with the demographics of Mesquite in a whole. So. And
your youngest child, your son just graduated from Virgin Valley High School this year.
Tanner graduated in 2020, and as I was hoping he was going to go to college, and he actually decided to join the Marines, which he was sworn in on July 28th.
Oh my gosh.
He will be leaving for active duty on October 19th.
Oh.
So I couldn't be prouder of him for serving our country.
Yeah.
And right now at these really unprecedented times, you know, he'll be leaving. He'll be going into quarantine for 2 weeks before boot camp down in San Diego.
Yeah.
So I am so proud of him, and I mean, it makes me want to cry, you know. And it just says, you know, and I've been a single mom for 14 years. So I have to tell you, my kids are exceptional, and I believe it's because of our small town feeling. You know, it takes a village. My kids have been to groundbreakings, ribbon cuttings, you name it. You know, sometimes that was dinner. Yeah. You know, but they were in tow wherever I went, because I wanted them to be part of this community as well. Yeah. So they have been.
Well, Semper Fi to your son.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Super awesome.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump into the discussion on some of the issues.
Absolutely.
And let's start with the COVID CARES Act money that Mesquite has been designated to receive from the Clark County Commission. And so far, they've promised $1.7 million. And depending on how things go with the virus, we could get another $500,000 for $2.2 million. So my question to you is, how do you think, if you were on the council, how would you go about spending that money? What would you spend it on? Would you spend it on replacing the salaries that the city employees were scheduled to get, the 5% pay increase July 1, and that was put on hold, they didn't? Would you spend it on the schools? Would you spend it providing relief to small businesses or nonprofits? So tell us what you would do if you were sitting on the council and you had $1.7 million to do something with.
Right. That's a great question. So I do think that small businesses are the heart of Mesquite, and if we don't take care of them, they're gonna leave. And it's like everything else, if you don't utilize them, they're gonna close down. And so I think the process would be, or could be, anybody who wants that relief, because I don't know what they need. They would have to, advertise this, come in, bring us your application, let's look over it. I know I talked to a small business owner who was a small casino and couldn't get any of the other funds because he was a casino.
Right.
But he's a small family-owned casino, and so that really bothered me. But I'd love to see every business come in to fill out, to let us know that they need help.
Yeah.
And how much, because we need to take care of the businesses. Also, families are hurting.
Okay.
Families are hurting like crazy with, the delay of their unemployment money. The kids are at home more. They don't have as much money to feed them. The whole thing with the family. So I think we need to look at families that are hurting as well. And then looking at the city, I'd have to look at their pay increases, see where they were. The one thing I did hear about the city is I know when we come back from this and we make it up, they have been reduced pay and promised that later, we'll bring you back up once we're back on our feet.
Right.
But what I've heard before several years ago is that never happened.
You mean after the 2008 recession?
Right, absolutely.
Okay.
When they went down they reduced their pay and stuff, and then that never happened. So we really need to track that. And if we say we're going to do something as a city, we need to do it.
Okay. That kind of segues right into the next issue. The unions, 3 unions, police, fire, and rank and file, used to have staggered contracts, and one year this one would expire and renew, and next year the next one, and so on. Well, now they're all expiring at the same time, and they're all renewed at the same time, so they're all in sync now. But what has happened over the years is, well, the police were, they're going to get a 5% increase, therefore, well, if they're going to get it, I should get it, and if they're going to get it, I should get it.
Right.
So it's not necessarily whether they get the increase, but salaries are continually going up now at 5% a year by contract for 3 years, even though they didn't get the one this year because of COVID. But PERS donations, and I call it donations, are going up. So they're close to 30%. So when the salaries go up, the PERS goes up and the benefits goes up. Well, pretty soon, right now, the city is spending 80% of its budget on employee costs.
Exactly.
Pretty soon, something's got to give. We're either going to, you as a council person would have to cut services. You would have to cut supplies. You would have to mitigate some of the employee costs. So what would you as a council person do with that?
So that's a great conversation. So I do want to let you know that I am on the City of Mesquite Master Plan Committee.
Okay.
Last year we finished the Parks and Trail element. We are now, 2 weeks ago we had our first meeting. Our elements now are public safety, services, and facilities.
Okay.
So looking at all the services and facilities, and today we have another meeting at 4, just to give direction to the chairman to see what we need. But we got all that. We've got the numbers of the statistics actually from fire and police, and we're looking at that to see if there was something we cut, what would it be?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to cut any service. Then we're leaving ourselves vulnerable as far as the service.
Yeah.
I would like to look at the union agreements and see what we can do with those.
Okay,
You know, and it's not going to be forever. We're in desperate times right now.
yeah.
You know, but like
Well,
you
one
said,
of the-
they're going up 5%, and other people can't even get a job.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that they're important to our community.
This
but
is
it
not
all-
about the people that fill the positions, because you as well as I have, many of them are friends.
Right.
It's not that.
Exactly.
What about raising taxes, then, property taxes?
You know, I'm not.
We haven't raised property taxes since 204.
Right, and I'm not a big believer in property tax. I mean, we might have to get some of that money back. You know, but all that money for property taxes is divvied out in 20 different categories.
Mm-hmm.
Also, one of them is schools. You know, so then our schools would get more money. Well, Clark County School District would.
We'll get to that issue
Yeah.
in a minute.
But you know, I think we just need to look at those contracts again.
Okay,
You know, because if we don't have the money, and 80% is a lot of money from the city of Mesquite
yeah,
to spend out. And if our revenues are down from the COVID, you know, what do you do?
well,
So
it just seems like every time we get back on our feet, we came back from the 2008 recession, and, you know, we were doing great, and now, you know, we're kind of back in that same tough spot with
Right.
the COVID shutdown and things like that. So, you know, I was just interested in, you know, what you would, how you would prioritize it.
Right. And, you know, and looking at the numbers for the city, and when they get updated with the budgets and everything, you know, we are down $1 million, but not, or $1.2 million,
Yeah,
but not the original, you know, 1.7 or something that they thought we would be down. So as far as it is, you know, pretty devastating to the city, it's not as bad as they expected it to be.
right,
And I know that the department heads really were adamant about, you know, taking their budget cuts.
Yeah.
And they did very well.
yeah.
You know, so, and they know better what they need, are the department heads, than myself. I can only take their advice,
Mm-hmm,
you know.
okay. Okay,